All right, everybody, welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today, guys, we are here to review and talk about the latest VSU edition. That is right, Vinegar Syndrome Ultra edition of Congo from 1995. Look, this is a movie that I remember watching when I was a kid, but I don't think I've seen this movie since I was like 12 or 13. So the last time I watched Congo, it was either on VHS or it was on cable, and I cannot remember which one, but I've got such like fond memories of this movie that when this was announced, I was like, hell yeah, freaking Congo. I remember that. I love this movie. The movie kind of freaked me out. I remember the gray gorillas and stuff. That kind of scared me when I was a kid. There's one particular scene, and it's in the beginning of the movie. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's an eyeball involved. And that used to like terrify me when I was a kid watching this movie. So I'm excited to talk about Congo, guys. We're going to dive into this 4K Ultra HD edition. Look at this beautiful thing, guys. Look at this. This is a VSU edition. If you're unfamiliar with the VSU line, so Vinegar Syndrome is a boutique label. They license movies and they put them out on 4K and Blu-ray, some DVD as well. They started this Vinegar Syndrome Ultra line, and they're all supposed to be 4K, and they're all supposed to play outside the normal like Vinegar Syndrome like horror, cult titles of the 80s, 70s. They're all supposed to be like different in terms of like the genres that they operate in. I love the VSU line. I've kind of made it my mission to collect every single one of them. And this is number 10. So I've got 1 through 9 back there, and I've got 10 now. Finally in collection. They put Roadhouse in this collection, which was a great release a couple of years ago. I think that was my 4K of the year. But will Congo be the 4K of the year? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Now, I will say, guys, if you want this release right here, Vinegar Syndrome's website where they're selling this, or this is where I bought this at, is currently down when it comes to the Vinegar Syndrome proper title. So in December, they basically like shut down the website for the Vinegar Syndrome proper releases. What I mean by that is they'll sell the partner label stuff, some of the other companies they work with on their website. They do not sell their Vinegar Syndrome Blu-rays or 4Ks during the month of December because they're fulfilling all the orders from the Black Friday sale. Their site will go back up on January the 1st for their virtual Insanity sale. They're going to be doing subscriber week. That kicks off January the 1st. Everything will come back. So Congo on 4K. If you try to look up Congo on 4K right now on Vinegar Syndrome's website, it will not come up. And a lot of people have messaged me on Instagram and asked if it's sold out. It's not sold out. I do not remember this selling out. So when it comes back on January the 1st, this should be back in stock. And I do think it's going for, I think it's like 45 bucks, I think is what it's at right now. It is also available, now keep this in mind, it's available on Amazon, but it's $49.98. And if you're not into all the extra packaging and all this stuff right here, you just want the 4K case and the disc and the contents of the packaging, that is $49.98 just to get that. So you're not going to get the packaging or anything like that off of Amazon, but you can order that right now. I will leave that down below, but just want to let you know, you're not going to get this packaging if you order it off Amazon, and it is more expensive than it is on the Vinegar Syndrome website. Let's talk about this movie real quick, guys. Okay, I'm not going to waste too much time talking about the film because there's really not a lot to this movie. It's a lot of different things. It's a genre film, it kind of plays in the horror genre a little bit, but I would say it's more of an action adventure. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Uncharted if you played those video games before. Kind of gave me those vibes and those feels throughout the movie. The really cool thing about that is the movie starts with Bruce Campbell, and I don't want to go into spoilers there, but he's not in the entire film, but it starts with Bruce Campbell, and I'm like, damn it, like in the 90s, Bruce Campbell would have made a great Nathan Drake. So it's an action adventure film that's kind of reminiscent of Indiana Jones as well with the hidden temple stuff. It's also kind of a sci-fi film. It's a creature feature. It's a lot of different things. It's based on a book that was written by Michael Crichton, which Michael Crichton at the time was on top of the world. He wrote Jurassic Park. That was huge around this time. And I feel like they wanted this to be the next Jurassic Park. They wanted it to hit like that, just kind of fusing together like the creature feature, the sci-fi, because that's kind of what Jurassic Park did as well. But this movie doesn't do it nearly as well. It's a very clunky film, and I say that with love. Like, I still think it's a very fun movie. But again, I hadn't seen the movie since I was 13. I was very excited to watch the movie. Now, did it deliver for me on the rewatch after all these years? Yes and no. I still thought it was fun. I still enjoyed it. Would I be as high on a 4K release of this after watching it now as I was before watching it? Probably not. But I still think it's a good movie. It's just the problem with the film is the characters. I just don't think the characters are all that interesting. And there's some good actors in here. You got the girl from Ozark. I cannot remember. I keep wanting to say Laura Dern. That's Jurassic Park. So this movie has their version of Laura Dern with Laura Linney, who's a great actress. She's great in The Truman Show. She's great on Ozark. But in this movie, she just, she's kind of playing a badass type Sarah Connor. Like, she has a gun and she's really the person that tries to save them and stuff like throughout the film. And I just don't buy her as like that female hero badass in the movie. I just don't think she has a great like character or personality. Dylan Walsh, who was really good on a show I used to watch called Nip Tuck back in the day. I used to really like that show and he was good on that show. But in this movie, like, it's clear to me why like he never became like a big movie star after watching this film. And you got Tim Curry in the film, which I love Tim Curry, but his character, the Russian or whatever he's playing in the film, that just does not work. That does not match Tim Curry's energy, I feel like, at all. I would have much rather preferred like the more traditional like Tim Curry performance in this film. Ernie Hudson. I will say Ernie Hudson is the one bright spot out of all the characters. I feel like if it wasn't for Ernie Hudson, this movie would be stale and boring like all the way throughout. He brings an energy and charisma to it. Like once he comes on the scene, like you're like, oh, thank God, somebody with some actual like charisma and energy to carry this film and these characters. So Ernie Hudson's great. I've got no issue with Ernie Hudson at all. Like he's great as this kind of guide for them. Like he knows Africa, he knows the Congo, he knows the lay of the land. So it kind of lends itself to some good like comedic moments with him and them. It does have some fun moments with the ape Amy like throughout. I think there's some good like comedy throughout. And I think like at the end, like with the gray gorillas, some of that stuff does deliver as well. I just feel like this movie was going for, it had high ambitions, I feel like, and it doesn't quite deliver on those ambitions throughout. So it's a good movie. I remembered it honestly, like when I was watching it, like there were several parts I remembered like it was yesterday. So like I watched this movie a ton when I was a kid, but as a film, like it just doesn't hold up quite like I remembered. Now let's get into the 4K here, guys. And I do want to say, I don't have this. Like I said, the last time I watched this was on VHS. I remember that old school like poster on the VHS. I remember having that back in the day. I remember watching on cable. I never owned it on DVD. I never owned it on Blu-ray. I don't have the Blu-ray outside of the Blu-ray that's in this case right here. And I do not have the DVD. I cannot compare this to any of the past releases, except for maybe my memory of what the VHS looked like. What I can tell you, this is a stellar 4K. This is a native 4K. You got Dolby Vision, you got HDR. Vinegar Syndrome, like I just knew this is a movie set in the jungle. You got that greenery of the grass and the trees and the temples and just the entire like scenery of this film and how that would lend itself to just such a great 4K of that HDR and Dolby Vision. And just knowing Vinegar Syndrome and what they do with their 4K restorations, like I just knew this was going to be spectacular. That's one of the reasons why I was very excited for this. And it absolutely delivered. Like this was such a fantastic 4K. Like the green grass, the trees, like all the scenery just looked spectacular in this movie. Some of these up close like shots of people and their faces, like so much incredible detail on the apes themselves. Now the ape that they use in this movie that plays Amy is an actress. Like it's actually somebody in the suit. And even though it's in 4K, like you can kind of tell that it's somebody in the suit. Like you can kind of tell that it's not a real ape. But like even in 4K, like it still looks really good and kind of believable. Like you don't look at it and say like, oh, that's fake. Like you're kind of still drawn into it. You still buy into Amy as being an ape. So I don't think the 4K takes away from that in any way. But Amy looks great. The gray gorillas look great. Some of the actual like attack sequences and the blood and stuff just look spectacular in 4K. There's this one sequence where they're all like setting a perimeter around to protect themselves from the gray apes as they're attacking, and there's guns going off and everything. They set up these like purple lights that shine up on the walls and the trees and stuff, and there's like a blue perimeter that goes around. That entire sequence looks breathtaking in 4K, absolutely breathtaking as the purple and the lights are reflecting off everybody's faces. It looks spectacular. So there are several scenes in this film that just look spectacular in 4K. Now, I will say Vinegar Syndrome did put up some kind of a disclaimer when I started this movie. It was something about how they found that the negative, but it was parts of it were damaged, and they did the best that they could to restore it. And they said that you could probably notice it a little bit, some of the imperfections in the film, through very like small parts of the movie. You could probably notice it better on the 4K than the Blu-ray. I'll say this, I watched it on 4K, and I paid attention. I was locked into the entire movie. I didn't notice anything. I didn't notice one imperfection watching this the entire way through. So, like, I think that's just for people that are really, like, going through this transfer with a fine-tooth comb. I didn't notice anything. No problems at all. So you'll see that disclaimer, but do not let that bother you at all because it looked fantastic, and I didn't even notice it. And I think that most people won't even notice the imperfections when they're watching this. So overall, guys, this was a fantastic restoration by Vinegar Syndrome. And to me, like, it's definitely one of the best of the year. Like, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. People don't like that, guys. But I did pay for this. Can I be hyperbolic? If I paid for this, can I do that? But this is one of the best of the year. Like, it really is truly one of the best 4Ks of the year. And I honestly think it's because of that jungle scenery. It just looks so good. Some movies just lend themselves so good to that 4K with the HDR, the Dolby Vision. It just really enhances everything. There's another one I'm going to be talking about very soon on the channel. And I do have more Vinegar Syndrome stuff to talk about as well, guys. But there's another one that I'm going to be talking about that's like, holy crap. Like, I love it, guys. I know some people are like, I'm good with the Blu-ray. I'm good with the Blu-ray. Look, if you have Congo on Blu-ray, you're happy with it, keep it. It's fine, guys. It's fine. Some people don't care. I am so in love with the look of 4K. Like, when it truly looks like it's supposed to look. When it's truly like handled by professionals and people that care about film and restoration and quality. When it's truly handled by those people, like, I just love it. I'm so in love with it, guys. I cannot explain it to you. So I love Congo in 4K. I thought it looked great. Now, getting into the audio, guys, you have the DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. From what I can tell, it's the same audio that was present on the Blu-ray, so no significant audio upgrade here. No issues with the audio. I'm listening to this on a soundbar with a subwoofer. I don't have that full setup, but it simulates that 5.1. And it's got great sound. It's got a great score as well. And I had no issues with the sound. I listened to it blasting and the gunshots and the fire and the guerrillas. Everything was completely immersive. So I was immersed in the sound and I thought it was great. I do also want to note that this is on a 100 gigabyte disc, and then the Blu-ray is also on a 50 gigabyte disc. And I will say I did watch parts of the Blu-ray, and you can definitely tell that it doesn't have that Dolby Vision, that HDR. That definitely enhances it a lot with the 4K, but still an extremely sharp like picture quality with that Blu-ray with the 4K scan. Now let's get into the actual like meat and potatoes of this release, guys. And that's the packaging. Look at this cover right here, guys. Now look at that. I don't know what's going on there. I honestly think that was come on, guys. You know what that looks like. Incredible artwork on the cover. You got the font in yellow right there. You flip it to the side. You guys can zoom in right there. This is VSU number 10. And you got the back right there as well, with the apes jumping and the blue and purple lights. So spectacular, guys. All right, and you open it like this, guys. It's a magnetic case. I'm trying to show this to the people that may have not seen VSUs before, maybe new to the channel. It's a magnetic case. Inside, you have the movie inside of a slipcover that looks spectacular. I'm not completely in love with the whites. Not completely in love with the whites, but I still think it looks really good. And then you flip it to the back. I love the artwork on the back. I think that's spectacular. That's Laura Linney back in the home base. Just really cool. Look on the back and take a look at the special features right there, which I'll go ahead and get into the special features real quick. There's a couple of new features here. There's a making of a documentary featuring interviews with Stan Winston's studio crew, and that is called A Crash Course in Ape School, looking back at the creation of Congo's gorillas. So that one pretty much like focuses on the making of the actual like gorillas in the film, but it really also acts as just a comprehensive like making of Congo as well. They kind of give some more like stories on the making of the film that goes beyond the making of the apes themselves. So it's a good feature. Like I said, it's 50 minutes long, so it is well worth the time for sure to check that one out. We've also got a test of time, a conversation with Congo's makeup effects team, and that's about 13 minutes long. So it's about over an hour of new special features here. There's also an audio commentary, which I think is an archival audio commentary with the author, screenwriter Kelly Goodner and film historian Jill hemp pill. So I'm not seeing where it says it's new. It could be new, but I think it's also an older audio commentary. There's also an older making of Congo, which is probably on the DVD and Blu-ray release back in the day. Then there's some extensive behind the scenes still galleries, original teaser trailer, and original theatrical trailer. So there's some good features here, guys. It's not as great as some of the Vinegar Syndrome releases of the past have been. But like I said, it's over an hour of new features there. 2 new features, archival stuff, and audio commentary. So there's a good amount of features here to dig into. Open this up. You do have the Blu-ray and the 4K case with some cool artwork on it. And I'll flip the artwork around, but it really is just the newly commissioned artwork that we have right here. So that is cool. And then lastly, guys, we have a book inside here as well. Of course, a book, which I did read some of this book. And this kind of goes into, you know, the backstory of making Congo and, you know, how it wasn't as successful as they hoped for. So there's some good information on here, just kind of telling us sometimes the stories of these films are more interesting than the films themselves. So yeah, there's some good information in there though, some pictures and all that kind of stuff. And I'm trying to go and see if there's any information on the actual transfer here. I actually don't think that because I was looking for it, I don't think they gave any information on the transfer. So I do think this is something that Vinegar Syndrome did like completely in-house. I don't think that Paramount aided them at all. And you know, you could tell because Vinegar Syndrome, like, they're just quality when it comes to their 4K restorations. They really put some good work into their stuff. So look, guys, overall, like, the movie itself, it's good. I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. Is it, you know, one of the all-time great monster creature features from the 90s adventure movies? Probably not. Does it hold a candle to Jurassic Park? No, it does not. But it's a good time. I can't sit here and say it's a $45 good time. But, you know, if you like these kind of editions right here and you're just really into, like, good 4K restorations and quality, and you like these cheesier 90s adventure films, I think you'll get some enjoyment from this release for sure. But again, it's your money. Spend it how you like it. Maybe the Blu-ray is good enough for you. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and we'll see you next time.